a thing here. I'm gonna do a countdown.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. 1 minute count. Oh wait, do we have a 1 minute?
Too long.
Let's see. Yes. 30 seconds. All right.
There you go.
Hit it. Go. Come on. Why aren't you playing? There we go.
Welcome in everyone to Barely Educated post game of the debacle versus the Browns. I shudder to ask, but Chris, how are you?
Wow. They did it again. They
They did
fell
it again
apart in the fourth quarter
with a double-digit
again.
lead.
I with a double-digit lead, 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I mean, how many times? Well, I guess it could happen three more times, but goodness, we've seen the same thing so many times now. This has to be the end of the Flus era, right? I mean,
It's got to be the
it,
end of all the debates, really, because don't
yes.
fall for whatever happens the next two games against the Birds that aren't any good. I mean, the Falcons just lost to the Panthers for crying
They
out loud. Beating them
the,
isn't going to mean anything, and the Cardinals are terrible.
the tank is compromised. The
Yes,
tank is
everyone
compromised.
panic. No, the tank is okay. The
Shout out to
Panthers
cousin
finished
Nate.
with three real teams,
Yeah.
so they should lose all those, and we should be all right. Knock on wood. This game, it's all right there for me, and I am miserable about saying this. Right, like that's an epic collapse. Darnell Mooney drop was. Oh man, you complained during the week, and then that's the game you give us. Oh
Right.
boy, buddy. You are going to be on the. You're going to be public enemy number 2 now this week. It's probably unfair, but you're going to be. It's going to be Getsy and Mooney that get the heat, but it needs to also be Fields and Flus. And what I mean by saying this all right there for me is I am Mr. Franchise Reset button with the coach who calls plays on offensive background and the number 1 draft pick we still hope we get. I'm still banging that drum. That's still my preference, and this game was great, sadly enough, for that movement because Flus once again coach scared in the fourth, turned down the field goal opportunity. I thought that was curious but not egregious. But either way, it just seems like we have these games where we have these double-digit leads and everything has to go wrong down from the field down up to the booth, right, and the coaching and everybody in between, and it does. And part of this evaluation of Flus has to be in-game management. Don't give him a pass just because the defense is playing well. I think they'll play well for anybody at this point, as long as their scheme doesn't, totally ignore their ability, right? Like playing press man is good, for example. But this is on Flus too, and Fields. I'm not giving him a pass. I'm sick of it, man.
No.
He
No.
plays like
You can't.
crap way too often for big stretches of games just because he makes one highlight play. Watch other NFL football and tell me we are playing NFL football in the passing game.
Joe Flacco had almost 400 yards of
Yeah.
passing today. And I would not put Joe Flacco in my, greatest of all time category or anything like that, but a good NFL quarterback, a good career,
Solid
had that one
career.
great postseason run.
Yep.
But Justin Fields can't. He's not Joe Flacco. And I love Justin. I thought he was going to be the guy,
We all
but
did.
he's if you can't match old Joe Flacco, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of if you are a franchise quarterback, go out and win us a Super Bowl or two, you've got to be at least as good as Joe Flacco, and he
It's
wasn't today.
it's Dan Bernstein's point with a bunch of other points piled on, and Parkins' point. Right. Parkins says what? Dare to be great. Burnsy's like, don't have the bar so low.
Yeah,
And I combine those points because they're about Fields and Flus respectively. But I combine those points and say, guys, you're not winning a Super Bowl with this pairing. Come on. They're neither one winning a Super Bowl because Flus turtles up too much and he's going to have to constantly figure out who his offensive coordinator is. And again, this is a huge problem in the long haul. And Fields is not figuring it out. And again, I
No.
mentioned it Friday, but you're like, oh, I don't know if he's the guy. You do know he's not the guy if you're still asking that. And I wear my jersey and I put it up after the game is over, and I'm sad every time. He's not the guy. 3 years in, he's not going to magically become an efficient pocket passer, which is basically required in this league, and the running is a bonus. It just doesn't work enough.
Right. Question from former student Tim. So, Chris, with this not being a great Fields game, are you out on Fields? Yeah. Yeah. This did it for me. And it's not because, for the box score watchers saying, oh, look, you had 2 interceptions. Those interceptions mean nothing. They were both Hail Marys at the end of halves. The last one should have been a touchdown.
Oh my
But
gosh, the most ridiculous play.
but even if the Bears if Mooney had held on and the Bears won that game, still, you just are not seeing enough from Justin Fields. And yes, that Browns defense is good, but so is the Bears defense. And Flacco still produced and drove the ball down when they had to.
And we can do the
So,
stats, and we should. 166 yards and under 50% completion.
yeah, that's not good. You can't. Year 3. You
I don't
can't
care
be
about the
doing that.
interceptions. I say this like every week. I don't care about deep downfield interceptions because you need to take those chances. These are Hail Mary interceptions. I don't even think one will be an interception come Tuesday, whenever the league reviews everything. That was not a catch. They
Right.
supposedly review that.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
the fumble
Okay.
is just kind of like this weird play that doesn't matter that much either. It's not stats though. Like everyone's like, "What is the last
Mm-mm.
17 games?" I don't care. Watch the games.
Eye test,
We
baby.
can't just disappear for quarters at a time in the passing game, and we can't have him look like a deer in headlights for half the game every week except for one or two. It's just not good enough. Guys, come on, have the standard of excellence, not the standard of shucks, I like him. I like him too,
I really
but
like
he's
him.
not going to take us to the Super Bowl at this point. It's just total pie in the sky to think that with 3 games left in year 3, he's going to suddenly get it. It just is totally unrealistic.
Unfortunately, on the plus side, though, and I mentioned this at the outset, I think this guarantees the removal of the Eberflus staff at the end of the
Hope
year.
so.
Because you had to win this one, not just to keep the pie in the sky playoff hopes alive, but this is the last really good team, or good team at least, that's on the schedule. Did Green Bay win today?
No,
Do
they
you
got
know?
pounded by Tampa.
Yeah, so Green Bay's the last
Defense
game of the
looks
year.
awful right now. I mean, they're banged up
That's a
too.
shame. That's
But
a shame.
you had to. We have to have a better ability to not live just in the immediate moment. And when we're evaluating the QB and we're evaluating the coach, we got to look at the whole body of work. The coach loses you games that you have your defense winning for you, and he's a defensive coach. He continues to coach scared in the fourth quarter. Lord only knows what the logic is any given fourth and short on the cusp of field goal range, because I can't figure out any given time if he's going to try it or not. Conditions
Right.
were terrible for it today, so I didn't think that was
This
egregious.
first
But
half, especially.
so you just look at the whole body of work. This guy's mo is to coach scared late, and that's just a huge problem for me. And I'm never gonna like let that one be. And then Getsy's horrible. I mean, we don't need to talk about Getsy. Everybody knows he's a disaster. How many toss plays did we run that lost yards? But we just kept running them in key
Maybe
spots.
this time. Maybe he thinks maybe this time it's gonna work. Yeah, we've done it
Shugo
so much. Surely they won't expect it again. Sorry.
Shugo says that it needs to be a packaged thing. I totally agree. They all need to go, because even if you keep Flus and you hire a new OC, what's to stop him from getting poached if he does a good job? There's no sustainability with the process that led you to this point, and we just have to be willing to admit this. And the defense playing good is just not enough to keep the coach's job when he doesn't follow it up with finishing games often enough. We now have 3 total choke jobs. 2 of them are pretty epic. This one was pretty epic. The Lions one is the worst. This one's up there.
Yeah, and yeah, it was on the road, and Cleveland's defense is good, but you had it, man. When you got a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and your defense is playing as well as it has been, You can't give that lead up, especially not to a statue quarterback who's like as old as we are almost. you know, got to dial up some pressure, man, and get after. It's just too many
Well,
fourth
they blitzed
quarter,
one
same
time, and it
thing.
was a terrible idea because then you had Justin Jones trying to cover Njoku in the
But
30-yard
then,
play.
but you got to know when and how to blitz in different situations. I mean, blitzing is always a risk. Blitzing
Yeah, but they've been
isn't
doing a good
a
job doing that overall. I mean,
uh
obviously
huh.
the defense played good enough to win. I think people are gonna say that they were like awesome. I've already had that conversation with one person, and I get where that's coming from, like the sacks and the interceptions, and Montez Sweat is definitely awesome. But I think they gave up way too many chunk plays to
Yep.
say that they were well coordinated and that they actually played awesome today. By the end of the game, they hadn't played awesome anymore, and the time of possession difference was 3 minutes, so it's not that. Flus once again didn't put him in good positions late, and then they also had a couple blown coverages on the back end. Look like the safeties to me, but I think we're going to see the all 22 on some of those plays. Why is Dominic Robinson in on the Amari Cooper touchdown? I
That's
mean, it's
troubling.
they're not gassed because of time of possession like the Lovey era. This is a good defensive effort. You should have won with it. I can't call it awesome when they gave up two 50-yard plays, a 40-yard play, and two 30-yard plays, and both those 30 yards were to the same guy in the gotta have it defensive drive that lost him the game. So I can't use it to throw bouquets at Flus either because
Mm-hmm.
when push came to shove, once again, whatever he was doing to try to finish off the game doesn't work.
Right.
3 times now, and you win those 3 games, and your season's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you bring in a different head coach and bring in a different defensive coordinator. These guys are still going to be really good.
Yeah. There's so
Poles
much.
knows what he's doing there. This is
Yeah.
encouraging when it comes to the GM and discouraging everywhere else.
It's very interesting thinking back now the fact that um, Poles has not drafted specifically for the Tampa 2 defense that Flus has wanted to run. You know, when you look back and think about that now,
It does
like,
make me
well,
hope that that's part of the firing
ex-
calculus.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That these are players that are going to transfer just fine into whatever the next coaching scheme is going to be. Hey, Tim thinks I should be the quarterback. Former student Tim. Tykler for
Mm,
QB. And look at
how about
Shugo.
punter? How about punter? We could use
Shugo.
a punter.
Yeah, that's true. Jansen for QB. Ooh,
There we
Shugo
go.
likes you. He said,
Uh,
please no for QB. Thanks a lot, Shugo. No, man.
I want to
You're a
love Justin.
faithful
It's just
listener.
it's
Thank
too
you.
erratic. I just can't like turn off the analysis and be a fan at this point in the career. It's too far in, and they didn't do him any favors with the development. It's as
No.
much on the organization as him. I'll be rooting for him if he's not in the division to have a nice career, definitely, because I do think he's a good guy and deserves better. But I also think you're sitting there with the number one pick and you have the opportunity. And it's just like you can't change that. Yeah, having one of us
No.
at quarterback would be setting the bar too low again. That's a good point. Thank you, Shugo, for clarifying that.
Yes, yes.
And
In
yeah, I agree
contrast,
with you, Tim. He asks, what good OC are you going to get or come to Chicago with a coach on a hot seat if you kept Flus? Yeah, it's kind of what I was getting at earlier just now and also Friday, right? Like, your OC candidates are pretty limited if Flus is likely to be fired anyway. You just
right.
can't, just don't do the Nagy thing all over again. I mean, we've already done this twice. We did this with Mitch too.
Did you like Detroit yesterday? Ben Johnson, what he was doing?
Denver didn't like it.
No, they didn't. Detroit looked pretty. I was starting to think, yes, like, ooh, I think I could get along with the idea of this guy coming and taking over the Bears offense, the Bears team. I think I could get on board with that.
Yeah. And I mean, I know all the like locker room stuff will be brought up at some point with both Flus and Fields. I think players generally get over it. They're professionals. As long as
Right.
you don't hire someone that's a total dweeb again, like Dressman. Like, and we're not
This is
talking lovey levels of beloved here.
yeah. And maybe, just maybe, Flus isn't maximizing the talent that's in there. Maybe we get another head coach, we find out there's the next level. You know, I mean, it's speculation at this point, but we can't assume that the next coach won't get all these guys believing in playing tough and fighting, you know, and all that stuff. And yeah, they haven't quit yet, but maybe that's because it's such a young team. I don't know, but
Well, they
like
play
when
hard for
he's
each other. I mean, there's things Flus has done well. That's an upgrade from the first 20 games of his coaching career. but it's not good enough to keep his job when he can't finish off a game once again with a double-digit lead.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And if you've got like, hey, offensive coach, we have a defense that's already pretty good, and the number one pick, that should be very appealing.
Yeah. Yeah. People saying, "Oh, who would want to come to the Bears?" Well, there's lots of reasons to come to one of the the charter franchise in one of the best cities in the world. You win in Chicago, you're going to be deified forever. Look at Mike Ditka. Geez, one Super Bowl when he should have won three, and he is still
Yeah, actually
God.
disappointing.
You know,
Yep.
yeah, big letdown of a head coach, but man, geez, look at even Dave Wanstead. Wanstead is like a folk hero now. You know,
Oh, I just like how he talks.
yeah, I know. Oh, I gotta come on the show and hey, where's Speeds? I love that. That might be
Who's
my
got the
favorite
bourbon today?
score.
It's just
Yeah.
he's just there to drink.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how
He's
well you
funny though.
remember, but we couldn't wait to run him out of town by the end of his. I think it was '98 was his last season. Couldn't wait to run him out of town, and now it's like, hey, it's Wani. Listen, Wani's on the show. Wani's doing a Bears TV postgame show. Like, it doesn't take much to be a beloved Chicago figure, you know. So anyway, just saying that it will be an appealing job for a coach, especially. And it's probably going to be Caleb Williams. If you say you got Caleb Williams coming here, how would you like to work with that prospect?
Yeah, it
So
should be appealing. And we, again, the question should always be, what move gets us closer to a potential Super Bowl,
that's the goal.
not a respectable 9-8.
Uh,
And
I
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was going to say I agree with Shugo here on his concern with Williams. How tall is Caleb Williams really? Is he really 6'1" or whatever? 6'1" I can live with, but if he's
The thing
six
is, I
feet
think he
tall, or
is. I think he is, and he's thicker than like a Bryce Young. Like, I think
well,
he'll be all
yeah,
right
I mean,
absorbing hits. He looks more like Mahomes to me, maybe an inch shorter or something, but not. I mean, Bryce Young is like tiny all around, like
I've
short.
seen
He's like
thicker
180
aspen
pounds.
trees. Yeah,
I think I mentioned this last week when I saw him get like tackled. It looks like he's getting ragdolled because he's such a light guy.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't think Williams will have quite that problem. I don't know. I mean, most of it is whether you can block for these guys, and that's another thing we got to talk about. The O line stunk today. A big part of that is Cleveland being really good.
It's
But you
really
know
good
what
line.
really killed the blocking? The running backs.
Hmm.
They missed so many blocks. I'd never seen them miss that many, and some of them are like Johnson's considered to be a good pass blocker. He can go
Yeah,
6'7", but shaved head might be 5'11". That's probably true, Shugo.
nice. Yeah. And you know Jenkins got hurt. Did he come back or was
Concussion,
he?
nope.
Oh, concussion. Oh, I had to run out to my son's band concert, so I missed most of the
That was a
second
weird
half.
looking like collision too.
Yeah, he just kind of. Ooh.
I mean, I know Miles Garrett has a power beyond mere mortals, but it was very weird the way he just like
Yes, he
dropped.
does. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, sorry." Like he was clearly like not trying to hurt him. He was just trying to
Yeah,
help
he
him
helped
up.
him up and stuff. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
And
But
another thing to note, because I haven't harped on it enough, because we just feel like it's also obvious, but really, a lot of this game came down to Schwartz versus Getsy.
oh yes, true.
I mean, just watching in the fourth quarter, going, "Are we going to be able to grind out enough clock?" Because I know we're not scoring again. It's 17-7, and I'm like, 20-7 would be nice. 24 would be amazing, but we're not going to do it.
Mm-mm.
17 points gets you beat in this league. 24 often won't.
Yep.
And how about the goal line sequence? That just says
Oh
it
my
all.
gosh, that was
8 plays to
painful.
get a yard.
Oh man. And then it turned out being like a
And then it's
miracle
like
play
this
by Fields to
highlight
throw
play
it.
by Fields that people are going to
Yeah.
be like, see, you got to keep him. No, I don't. It's
No,
one play.
no.
Yeah,
It
he's
wasn't.
exciting, but not. It's just doesn't do it enough. Doesn't do the easy things well enough, as Tim had said above, right? That he does so many great things that would be like truly great if he was doing the easy things well enough for those things to matter.
No. Did Justin's draft stock fall today?
Not really, because you still have all the dreadful QB play around the league, and the market will
Okay.
heat up late when the time comes. I mean, if it
Okay.
was like, oh, they got to trade him this week, maybe. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did you see Desmond Ritter give the Panthers the win?
I didn't see
Falcons
it, but I mean, I
at
saw.
worst would have kicked a field goal. He just does it right to the Carolina guy on like the Carolina 2, and then they marched down and kicked the game winner.
Wow.
It would have been
9 to
10 to
7, right?
6. It would have been 10 to 6 at that point if he doesn't throw the interception.
Oh man.
Did you watch any of the Pittsburgh game? Sorry, Tim.
Yes, I did.
They still need a QB.
Yeah, Mitch,
There's still
man.
enough QB star teams. I don't think his value is going to tank. I think enough teams are going to be. Also, coaches are supremely arrogant, right? They're going to be like, we can fix him.
True.
And then one of
Yeah.
them might be right. Like, there's still
Yeah,
talent there.
that's the thing.
I don't think his value's hurt too much by one game. But it goes in the bad category. We got to ask the question Tim asked above. Does this mean you're out now?
Yeah, yeah. I am. I love the kid. He's a great kid, but man, he, the opportunity to show what he needs to show is gone because there aren't any more teams left that are really going to be that difficult to beat, or play against. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like,
Yep.
I really wanted to see against Cleveland, against a great pass rush, against a really, really good defense, to show, hey, look, I mean, it didn't have to be 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, but it couldn't be under 200 and only 1 touchdown.
It's pulling
And
teeth
under,
watching them try to
yeah,
pass the ball, man. And
and
you just
under
watch the rest of the league.
50%.
Even guys like Davis Mills, and you're just like, okay, why is it so hard for us? Justin's a better talent, and we do have DJ Moore. Although DJ being hobbled, I think is definitely a part of the story
Yeah.
of this game.
He was out most of the second half, wasn't he?
He was in and out. I'm not sure how many. The snap count will be interesting because he's obviously way up there usually, and I think we all know it's not going to be as high today. Clearly laboring, but I brought up Davis Mills. Sorry, it was Case Keenum that was playing that game, but 229, 6.4 average for him. They won in overtime. Just as ugly a game as the Bears game, right? I mean, you can't even get Fields to 170, and he's 19 of 40. Jeez. So that's just terrible. Forget the picks; they shouldn't even count.
Yeah.
I mean, for that matter, there's only one pick, I think, but it's just the inefficiency. The whole system just stinks at it from Getsy through Fields. The blocking today, Mooney also whiffs on the block for the big fourth down play that might have iced the game, and then he drops the Hail Mary, which was like a kind of crazy play, but it's like, I hate it for Mooney, but man, the story of Mooney in Chicago is going to be the game last year against Washington and the game right now.
Yep.
People are going to remember those. And then there maybe, if on the good side, maybe they'll remember the Minnesota catch. That was a pretty awesome catch last year.
Yeah.
But like he's got no goodwill with the fans now after those comments, and then to whiff on to go full Pickens almost on the fourth down play.
You never go full Pickens.
And
right?
and then to bobble another game winner just like he did against Washington, a totally different play, but the same result. It's like, dang, that's rough. Can't have it. He's probably not getting a contract anyway, but
yeah, so
such a heartbreaker if you were in the camp of people thinking they actually could still make the playoffs, which I wasn't. But
can you get me? Probably can't get me Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., but could you get me Drake May and Marvin Harrison Jr.?
No,
no,
they're gonna go 2 and 3. I don't think you can get up to 3.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Tanyan's dropped 2. Thank you, Shugo.
Gosh. Yeah.
That was the best play Fields made all game. I mean, as like a throw, right? I mean, the play to commit in the end zone was great too. But like he dropped that thing in a bucket and the guy doesn't catch it. Fields is sitting there. He's got to be like, my teammates dropped at least 2 touchdowns. That stinks too.
Yeah, it does. Not all him, like you said. Maybe Tanyan is still an agent for Green Bay, my friend. That's why.
Stop with these Green Bay double agents. No, seriously, all the people we get from Green Bay, it's been a problem except for Lewis, Mercedes Lewis, the consummate professional.
The tight end too. What's his name? He had some good red zone production when we had him. Oh gosh, the guy he was in Seattle. Jimmy Graham. Yeah. Jimmy Graham had some really good red zone Bears production. He might be the only guy that wasn't terrible that we got from him.
So a quick little point of comparison on the whole thing with like Keenum, 6.3 average Fields 4.2 today.
Oh, yeah,
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's like it's just the bar's too low, guys. Come on.
that's 3 yards too low. Three
Yep.
yards too low of an average.
And
Yeah.
bad teams find ways to lose this game, and they did
Bad teams in general find a way
multiple
to
times.
lose. Hey, did you see Braxton Jones at all today? I know that was a good topic of someone to be watching in today's game. I don't know how to
I
watch
feel
O
like
line like you do, but
the tackles played okay. The help was really bad, and a lot of the pressure was coming up the middle. We had another Nate Davis with. We definitely had some Patrick whiffs, but mostly I think the guards really, I mean, the backs really struggled to pick up the late blitz. Schwartz, like I said, just totally outcoached Getsy. Um,
hmm
so that hurt.
yeah. All right. So, what does the rest of the season look like? What are we watching? What are we looking for? What makes us want to tune in to Bears games? Because
I
it's
mean, to
five and
me,
nine now. We're not in the hunt anymore.
we're gonna
Right?
never. I mean, it's probably always gonna be a conversation. Flus Fields, Flus Fields, Flus Fields. But really, we should be looking if we can. It's hard to train your eye off of that QB, right? But we
Yeah.
should be looking at the young players that Poles has acquired, seeing how they finish. I think most of them are playing well enough that you're like, yeah, nice job. I mean, Tyreek Stevens, that was a great interception.
Yeah.
Or Stevenson, sorry.
And run back. Yeah.
Yeah, and Darnell Wright's been great.
Boy, and without that, that's a
Brisker was
blowout,
was
isn't it?
bad on that play to Cooper, but good otherwise. He was great last week.
Yeah.
Didn't see much out of Gordon today. Maybe that's because he's doing his job.
Yeah.
He had a couple tackles. Montez Sweat was awesome. Shout out to him for sure. Lombardi keeps taking L's, love it. But I honestly, man, this is the thing. I don't know what to tell you to watch beyond that because you really should be done with the rest of it. I think we know. It's just
hmm
whether we're in denial or not. Um, I think I don't know. It's really not that hard, but I feel like they're gonna screw it up. And this was a good day, unfortunately, for Bears Enlightenment. I'm sitting there like they're gonna blow this game, and we're literally gonna lose in some
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
torturous fashion. But they even won up to that with the drop in the Hail Mary. That was incredible. That's an all timer.
Just when you think you've bears out to the maximum, there's another layer of bearsness that can be bearsed. Yeah.
Hmm.
All
So
right. Anything else you want to
yeah,
say
because
about
I
this
want to I
one?
want to make everyone feel better by clowning on our rivals, who will probably do
Okay.
exactly what the Browns just did to us the last game of the year. But Baker
I don't
Mayfield,
care.
381, 4 touchdowns, and a perfect passer rating on the day. Remember when
Oh
Jair
my
Alexander's like, "We're gonna win
gosh!
out." Jair Alexander, what a dork, right? He's like the
Wow.
the quintessential loudmouth corner, right? And I just
Uh
think it's
huh.
hilarious that they got torched by Baker Mayfield after he said before the Giants game even that they were gonna win out.
That's a shame.
But they might have their quarterback, so I can only gloat so much. But they do not have the defense that they think they have up
hmm
there, unless they're playing the
Wow.
Bears, and then their defense is great. 34
Thank
20 Tampa.
Wow.
So how's that for ridiculous? Sitting here celebrating a Packers loss. Jordan Love actually, by the numbers, played pretty well. One fumble though, but Baker Mayfield, former student Tim's guy. Gonna hear about that one later.
Yeah. Nicely done. Yeah. All right. Well, you got a thing to go to, right?
Yeah, on to
So,
the kids' Christmas play. They got speaking parts
yay!
and all kinds of stuff. I figure out how I'm gonna record a whole hour of it if one of them's in it all the time.
Nice.
But it'll be
Cool.
fun. Definitely fun. A
Be
good
more fun
palate
than.
reset.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Hey, thanks everyone who joined us on the live stream and on the chat here. Appreciate you jumping in. We will talk to you this week as we look ahead to who's next. Atlanta? No, the Cardinals are next. Yeah, 3:25 game at
Bird
Soldier
one
Field
and
against
then
the
bird
Cardinals.
two. Yeah.
Bird, yes, yeah. Oh, and I'm going to Chicago this week. Tomorrow, I am flying to the motherland. One tier for a music conference that I go to every December. So I am looking forward to going home, enjoying some Italian beef, my friend, some pizza. I'll be sure to report in, and yeah, we'll see. Okay. Thanks
Enjoy.
everyone for watching. Talk to you later this week.